Second video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the x and y intercepts. The first one that's easier to find would be the y-intercept. And at any time for any function, when we want to find our y-intercept, we're going to let the x equal 0. So letting the x equal 0, we get y equals 4 times 0 plus 3. Well, 0 plus 3 is 3. Square that, and then minus 8. So we get 4 times 3 squared, which is 9, minus 8, 36, minus 8, 28. So we want to always write the intercepts using coordinates, and so we see that when x is equal to 0, the y value is equal to 28. And so that's consistent with the way I drew my graph, nice and skinny there, so it'll keep going up, and then finally it'll hit the y-axis at x, or y equals negative, y equals 28. Now, the last part of our characteristics that we want to find is the x-intercept, and the x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. And when y is equal to 0, we get an equation. 0 equals 4 times x plus 3 squared minus 8. The strategy for solving an equation like this, instead of multiplying it all out and writing it in standard form, would be to just go ahead and isolate the thing that's being squared, the thing being this binomial x plus 3. So if we can isolate that, similar to if that were just an x, 4x minus 8, we would add 8 to both sides. And adding 8 to both sides, we get the 8 over there, and then we're going to see we have a 4 times something, and that 4 times something, we're going to go ahead and divide by that 4, and dividing by 4 now isolates what's being squared, x plus 3 being squared. The reason why we want that is because now we can go ahead and take the square root of both sides. When you take the square root of the left side, you just get radical 2. When you take the square root of something squared, what you actually get is the absolute value of that something. And normally, though, what we do is we write this as x plus 3 equals plus or minus radical 2. That's normally how we write that. We usually bypass that step, but if you want to know the reason why it's a plus or minus, it's because when you take the square root of x plus 3 squared, both the positive x plus 3 and the negative x plus 3 would equal radical 2. So if you want to delve into that a little bit deeper, that's fine. Something we learned back in Algebra 1. But nevertheless, when we solve for x, we get that x is equal to negative 3. We'll write it like this, with the negative 3 first, followed by the plus or minus radical 2. And that right there, those two numbers, negative 3 plus radical 2 and negative 3 minus radical 2, are the two x-intercepts. So we'll write that like this. We'll write it negative 3 plus or minus radical 2, comma 0. And it would be important that understanding that, look, we've got two x-intercepts up here. If you find that you only get one, it means you made a mistake. We have negative 3 minus radical 2, comma 0. And over here we have negative 3 plus radical 2, comma 0. That's what that means. You don't have to worry about exactly where that is. Just draw the graph and then put the dots where the graph crosses the x-axis and label it the way I labeled it. And you don't have to worry about, well, exactly what is that? Oh, I don't know. Radical 2 is like 1.3, so you can estimate, but just leave it alone. Leave it just like that and you're fine.